All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I am going to be sharing 4 new job leads, and I'm doing this in a little bit of a different way than how I usually would share job leads on my social media channels and my emails, mostly because I kind of want to centralize this information and where I share it in a video format, and then I will be resharing it in other areas. But I want everyone who is watching this video right now to realize that a lot of the information that I share is being shared on multiple different platforms. So YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is, being shared all over. So there are thousands of people who receive this information at one time, and even especially on my email list. There's thousands of people on my email list. With that being said, you may be one of many qualified candidates that is looking at this exact video right now. So I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. There may be someone else who is just as qualified as you are, or either more qualified, watching this same exact video. And so why am I saying that? I'm saying that because time is of the essence. Okay, timing is important, timing and alignment. So, with that being said, if a new position is posted and you are one of the first people to apply for that position with a targeted version of your resume and you're a qualified candidate for the role, you are more likely to be one of the candidates to get selected for an interview versus someone who looked at this video a week later or saw my social media post or read my email a week or 2 weeks later. Pretty much early bird gets the worm. All right. So also with that being said, if you are not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you turn on the post notifications so that whenever I post a new video, you are one of the first people to be notified. All right. So now let's get on with the show now that I got that out the way. Also, a disclaimer. All of the positions that I post, all of the job leads, I am not affiliated with any of the companies. I am not affiliated with any of the recruiters. I am not the recruiter for any of these positions. So you cannot send me your resume for consideration. If you are someone who happens to be inside of my career strategy program on the premium track, then you do have access to resume reviews and you can send a resume review request to me. But other than that, if you're just someone who's just watching this video and you're interested in applying for any of the positions, you will have to apply with the company directly. Always best to apply for a position within the first 7 days of it being posted, preferably like within the first 3 days of it being posted, but definitely within that 7-day window. And you want to make sure that you're aligned for the position and that your resume is targeted for the position. If by any chance you've been applying for jobs and not getting any requests for interviews, it is time for you to take a moment and look at your resume to see if there's anything going wrong with your resume, or if there's just something wrong with your job search strategy in itself. Are you applying for the wrong kind of job opportunities with your background? All right. So with that being said, the way that I'm going to share these job leads today, I'm going to share the position starting with the least amount of years of experience that you need to have. So starting with the least amount of years of experience, and then I'm going to scale up to the positions that are asking for you to have at least 5 years of experience. So the very first one here is a remote coding specialist, one position for outpatient coding with MedStar. And they are looking for at least 1 year of experience in facility coding, specifically in the emergency department, observation, or ambulatory surgery. One of the things that I hear a lot of people say is, all the companies, they want you to have, 3, 4, 5 years of experience. That is just simply not the truth. I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of different job postings. Not every company wants you to have 3, 4, 5, 10 years of experience. Yes, there are some companies out there that want that, but not every single company. And even the companies that do not require that many years of experience, they're also not, out here trying to lowball you either. But for this one, MedStar Coding Specialist 1, remote position, 1 year of experience in facility coding, specifically in the ED, observation, or ambulatory surgery. They would like for you to be a high school graduate or a GED equivalent. They also prefer an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. Pay special attention to preferred. Some people start seeing these degrees and then start, disqualifying themselves before fully reading through to understand exactly what it's saying inside of this job posting here. All right. So associate's degree or bachelor's degree preferred, not required. And the certifications that they would like for you to have. And I really love this one because they're actually giving you a year to obtain either one of the AHIMA or AAPC certifications if you're not already got certified. So here they are looking for the CPC or the CCA certification credentials within 1 year of being hired. Okay, so that means that in this position, you have the opportunity to obtain employment prior to having the certification. So obviously you would have completed some education requirement. You may have completed the course already, but maybe you sat for the exam and didn't pass it the first time around, or maybe you've tried a couple times and haven't passed the exam yet. Or maybe you're currently in school and you're almost complete with the program that you're in. This is an organization that will give you the opportunity to obtain employment. Now, the caveat here is that with these kind of job opportunities, the organization is usually going to have some sort of internal coding assessment, meaning that you would have to pass their internal coding assessment in order to secure the job offer. So if you go through the interviewing process and they like you, they want to extend you the job offer, it's usually at that point that they'll say, here's our internal coding exam. If you can pass this, even though you don't have the certification, but if you can pass this, then we will proceed with the job offer. If you do not pass their internal coding assessment, you will not get the job offer. So keep that in mind. So they're giving you a year to get certified with CPC or the CCA. And then they also do have listed here that they prefer for you to have the RHIT or the RHIA certification. So if you are someone who is currently enrolled in a health information technology or health information management program and you're not quite finished yet, or you are finished, you just haven't secured the certification yet, then this also goes for you as well. And so that's where this part here where they're saying associate's degree or bachelor's degree preferred. That's because with the RHIT, that requires the associate's degree. And with the RHIA, that requires the bachelor's degree. But again, this is preferred. So it's not a deal breaker. If you have the CPC, fine. If you have the CCA, that is also fine. And as a matter of fact, even though it's not, clearly stated here inside of this job posting, if you're someone who has the CCS, I would still, just put my neck out there and apply for this position if you have the CCS or qualify for the CCS. I wouldn't say that they may possibly say, no, you can't apply for this position, but it's literally like in the same bucket. Nonetheless, you can always call the Human Resources Department and ask them like, hey, would you guys consider someone who has the CCS certification? I don't have the CPC or the CCA, but I have the CCS with AHIMA. The pay range for this position is $23 an hour, all the way up to $40.61 per hour. So that's roughly about $83,000 a year on the higher end of the salary scale. So this is more so going to be towards someone who has some years of experience up under their belt, who've already obtained their certification, who has the experience or whatnot. Those are going to be our folks who kind of get into the salary range. But if you're a new coder, no, experience or very limited experience, don't have the certifications, you kind of fall in the bucket where you're still trying to get certified, then you might fall on the lower end of the salary scale. But still, this is a great opportunity for someone who does not have a lot of years of experience, who may not already be certified, and you're trying to get your foot in the door. This may be one of those gateway opportunities. So position number 1 is coding specialist 1, facility outpatient with MedStar. Position number 2 is Senior Investigator Special Investigations Unit with CVS. They have been hiring for this position for quite some time and across the nation. Okay, as we can see here, they are hiring in 48 different locations. I'll open this up. Pretty much, this is 48 states. This is a remote position. And I did notice that they have an end date that has been added here. So the end date for this position is February the 5th. So that is coming up very soon. We have about 4 days before this date comes up. Today is February the 1st, depending on the date that you're watching this video. And they're also hiring for a leadership position for this role as well. That position, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, is set to close sometime this second or third week in February. But they are doing a mass hire. Now, the particular link that I clicked on for this position here is saying Kentucky here. But again, they are hiring for 48 different locations, 48 different states. So there's a high possibility that your state is listed here. So they are looking for someone, I noticed here, and with a particular background and skill set in behavioral health. So if you've worked in this part of the healthcare industry and you also happen to have a medical coding or medical billing background or skill set, they are looking for you. They're looking for a lot of you guys. So if you have this background and skill set in this particular area, they are doing a mass hire. They do require for you to have at least 3 years of experience working on healthcare fraud, waste, and abuse. Investigatory and audits required. Now, for some of you who may be looking at this job posting and saying like, okay, I have 3 years of experience as a biller, as a coder, maybe exactly within behavioral health or mental health. And maybe you're saying to yourself, well, I haven't exactly like did this like fraud, waste, and abuse. I need for you to think about how the things that you do on a day-to-day basis tie into fraud, waste, and abuse. When I'm writing resumes for my clients, these are the things that I'm doing when I'm writing out their resumes and I'm identifying transferable skills that are relevant to the positions that they are trying to get into. Because if you have not worked in fraud, waste, and abuse already, and you're just thinking about the things that you have done and not how they tie into fraud, waste, and abuse, then you're going to kind of get stuck in a analysis paralysis and you're going to talk yourself out of a position that you qualify for because you're not able to articulate on your resume how your skills transfer into this kind of role. So I'm saying all that to say, do not self-reject, do not self-disqualify. If you have not did this exactly, I need for you to think about how the things that you've done on a day-to-day basis tie into fraud, waste, and abuse. If you have the skill set, if you've worked in revenue cycle, if you've worked as a medical coder, or if you worked as a medical biller, there are things that we do in the industry on a day-to-day basis that ties directly back into fraud, waste, and abuse. And the certifications specifically that they are looking for is the CPC, and they are also looking for the CCS certifications. Again, even though they do not have, the RHIT or RHIA listed here, if you have one of those certifications, even though they did not list CPC or CCS, you still could qualify to apply for this position because those are higher level certifications. So don't just look at the exact certifications that they have listed here and say to yourself, oh, I don't have this certification exactly, so I cannot qualify for this position. If you have the RHIT, if you have the RHIA, go ahead and apply for this position if your background and skill set aligns to this position, especially if you have a background in behavioral health or mental health. The salary range that they are offering here is roughly $46K to $122,000 annually. And I know you're probably thinking like, that's a pretty wide salary range. Like, what is it? In my mind, or it's my belief, that they have this wide salary range because they're hiring in 48 different states. So they have to cover all these different areas. And they didn't make it easy to identify where a particular candidate and their salary range, like exactly what it is. So some companies may specifically list the salary ranges for the East Coast and the West Coast, or down to the exact states, so that you don't have to try to figure out where you fall in the bracket. Now, I'm not saying that this is what CVS did on purpose, but what I will say as a career strategist and someone who's been doing this for a very long time and working in this industry for 19 years, they may know that a potential candidate may not know what their market value is. And there's a potential that they could throw out a number there to you. And sometimes people are just eager to accept the salary offer just as soon as it comes. They're excited that they got the job offer and they're just like, yes, they accept it, and do not know exactly what their market value is or how to research it. So if you are someone who is inside of my career strategy program, make sure that you are paying attention to the Sparks framework so that you know exactly what your market value is or how to determine it, like how to do that research. If you're not inside of my program, make sure that you pay attention to what the average salary range is in the state where you reside for the kind of work that you would be performing. And then also pay special attention to what your qualifications are, your years of experience, what degrees or certifications you have. All these things tie into the dollar amount you should be determining that you fall within. So you should know exactly what your bottom number is, what you are not willing to go below, and any number higher, okay? Because we're not going to put a cap on the higher number, but you should know what your bottom line number is. I will never go below this dollar amount per hour or this salary range annually. You should know what your number is. So I say all that to say they put a very wide salary range here to cover all 48 states. And so someone who is in Virginia and someone who is in California and someone who is in Texas may not know exactly what their number is that they should accept. So make sure that you do your research for any position, not even just this one, but for any position that you might be considering. Do your research. What one position salary range should be is going to be totally different from another one. The very first position I had up was a coding one specialist. I would not compare that salary to someone who is doing fraud, waste, and abuse. This is a higher tier role. And this, as a matter of fact, is a senior investigator role on top of that. So just keep that in mind if you apply for this position and they extend a job offer to you, that they put a very wide salary range here. And I think they did that on purpose. And almost forgot to say, this position is looking for a bachelor's or an associate's degree with an additional 3 years total working experience in fraud, waste, and abuse and investigations and audits required. Remember what I said. If you have not did fraud, waste, and abuse exactly, your focus should be your transferable skills in fraud, waste, and abuse. And if you know how to put your bullet points together inside of your resume, it shouldn't even matter if you don't have like the exact working experience. Your transferable skills and your education is just as valuable. Next. Okay, we have outpatient coding compliance auditor role with United Health Group Optum. They are hiring for this position in multiple different areas as well. Even though this says location Colorado Springs, they're hiring in multiple different locations. For this position, they are looking for their ideal candidate to have either the CPC, the COC, the CCS, or the CCSP. Let me highlight that here. And they are looking for someone who has at least 5 years of experience in outpatient facility coding and also outpatient professional coding as well. So this position is looking for someone who has 5 years of experience. Some additional qualifications that they listed as well, in addition to the AHIMA and AAPC certifications, is the RHIA and the RHIT, and also the CPMA. But these are not required certifications. These are just preferred. So if you have these, the better. And then the salary range that they have listed here is $71,600 to $140,600. And they didn't specifically list the states here. They usually would do that inside of their job postings. For this one, they did not. Maybe it's because it's specifically for this area, if you live in this area, but they'll usually put out the salary range, and then sometimes they'll break it down by state. But nonetheless, in all situations, the labor market, education, work experience, and certification are taken into account when they are deciding what the salary range is going to be. Pretty much the same thing that I just said for the CVS position that I had up. And when you are trying to figure out what your market value is, you have to think about how many years of experience you have, what degrees and certifications that you have, and what the pay scale is, and where you fall within the salary range. They didn't list any degree requirements for this position. And I believe it's because what they have listed as their required qualifications do not require for you to have a degree. You do not need to have a associate's or a bachelor's or a master's degree in order to obtain the CPC, COC, the CCS, or the CCSP. You do not need a degree to obtain those certifications. So that is my belief as to why they did not list any degree requirements for this position at all. So if you have 5 years of coding experience in an outpatient facility or outpatient professional coding, and you're ready to take the next step in your career, this will be a great opportunity. This is an auditor role. If you've watched any of my prior YouTube videos, I talked about the scale to float method, which is aggressively climbing the career ladder, both professionally and financially, the first 5 years of your career inside of the healthcare industry, because that's when things really tend to take off. So if you stay in one position for too long and you don't take the next steps in your career to progress into different positions so that you can go after auditor and analyst roles, you're going to kind of feel like you're being left behind and like you're not fully utilizing your degree or certification that you obtained to increase your salary ultimately. You're going to feel like you're not scaling like you should in your career if you've been in one position for 3, 4, 5, 7 years, especially if you have the same job title. So when I say staying with the same organization, when I'm saying that, I'm specifically speaking to staying in the same role. So if you've been working at the same facility, but you've been scaling into different positions and getting different promotions, that is not the same. But if you're staying at one organization and you've been in one position and you've been in that position for like 3+ years, and your salary is growing very slowly at about like 3% each year, and your job title and duties have not changed, then you're missing out on opportunities to grow professionally because the organization is not presenting those opportunities to you internally. And you're also not taking advantage of creating these opportunities yourself by actively pursuing new job opportunities. So once you get to about 5 years of experience inside of the healthcare industry, working in medical billing, medical coding, revenue cycle, data analytics, patient finance, patient registration, once you reach about 5 years of experience in these roles, it's time to start scaling up and getting into analyst and auditor kind of roles, because this is when your salary is really going to begin to pick up and take off, and you will be growing both professionally and financially. And as you can see, this is a position that is offering an auditor role, 5 years of experience, and they're paying up to $140,000 annually. No degree required. Last but not least, I wanted to show a position where rev cycle, health information management, and tech kind of ties in all together. This is a remote business system analyst 3 position with UCI Health. So that is University of California, Irvine Health. The salary range is $77,000 to $139,000 a year. This position is looking for someone with an RHIT or a CCS certification. Again, this one actually does not have a degree requirement, I believe, for the same beliefs as the other position, because there's no degree required to have the CCS, and they have RHIT or CCS. So they're flexible in that matter. They're not saying that they prefer one over the other. They are looking at both of these equally. But this position or this organization looks like they want someone who is AHIMA certified, because they didn't list any of the other certifications. So in this role, again, $77,000 all the way up to $139,000. They are looking for someone with 5 years of experience in acute multi-specialty hospital coding. So they were very specific on that in this particular line item right here. So that stood out to me. So they are looking for someone with 5 years of experience, multi-specialty coding. They're looking for someone with an AHIMA certification, RHIT, or CCS preferred, and they do not have a degree requirement. Okay. I know some of you have seen some of my emails or some of the posts that I made on social media where I said that, AI is really beginning to take off, and we may be living in a very different time and age a few years from now. So if you have experience, if you've already gained 5+ years of experience in medical coding, medical billing, revenue cycle, patient finance, patient registration, you want to start thinking about how you can take the current skill set that you have and begin to look for compliance roles, revenue integrity roles, health IT roles, system analyst roles. Take the skill set that you have and the certification that you currently have and upskill. Some people have asked me, does this mean I need to go back to school and get another degree or get a certification? Do whatever you feel is best for you. I can't tell everyone exactly what to do because I would really have to have a one-on-one conversation with you. But one thing that I will tell everyone that is listening to this video right now is to upskill. Get an additional certification or take a course that would help you to make a pivot and transition into whichever career path you ultimately decide. Coursera is a really great option that you could consider if you're thinking about upskilling right now and not necessarily returning back to school and enrolling in a program. Some of us don't want to get in student loan debt. So if you don't want to get in student loan debt and you want to do something that's very cost effective, Coursera is definitely an option that you could consider. They have some specialization courses where you can complete it in as little as 1 to 3 months. Some of them are just like as low as $49. They have some professional certificates that you can complete. Same thing, those take anywhere between 1 to 6 months, about $49 a month, depending on what program you get into with Coursera. I'll put my affiliate link below in the description box for courses that you could consider taking that are relevant to working in health information technology, compliance, and also data analytics. But they have a few different options. Some are very low cost, and they even have some free trials that you can do as well if you want to test it out and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. That way you don't have to pay for anything and then later decide that, oh no, I don't want to sign up for this course. So they do have some free trial options as well. So if you're interested in that, I'll have the link below down in the description for Coursera. So reminder for anyone who is interested in applying for these job leads, and if you're following this page here, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, one, and that you turn on post notifications so that whenever I post new job leads, you are one of the first to know about it, especially if something is here that aligns with your background and experience. You're one of the first people to apply for it. You don't want to be the person number 5,778 that saw the video and went to go apply for the position. Positions do get taken down after they have gathered enough candidates that apply for the position. So if by any chance, if you go to one of the links that I post below for the job postings here as well, and the post is no longer up or the position is no longer up, that means that they've either gathered enough candidates or they've already hired someone for the role. So the quicker you get to the position to apply for it, the better. And again, if you are applying for positions inside of the healthcare industry and it's been months on end and you're not getting any results, you really need to take a look at your resume and see, is something going wrong here? Especially if you are someone who is qualified, meaning that you have the degree or you have the certification and you have years of experience and you are applying for positions that you qualify for, but you just cannot figure out why you're not getting selected for interviews. It could be your resume, and it could also be your job search strategy that is the culprit. Okay. Wishing everybody luck that applies. Until next time.